Warning! The following video contains cringe and cat puns on a scale never before seen in human history. If you can't stand feline frolicking or cat-tastic singing, we suggest you keep watching. What? Did you think the binger was going to tell you to avoid this video? Oh no. If you clicked on this link, you're in it for the long haul. After all, who doesn't like seeing James Corden or Ian McKellen covered in kitty fur doing weird scenes that tie into cat puns? Don't worry, the details are here, so sit back and enjoy the wild ride. Even if you never planned on watching Cats, you could guess that it involves a scene with catnip. For those poor catless souls wandering the cosmos without feline affection, catnip is a treat you give kitties that mellows them out. Cats love it, and humans like the way their pet reacts to it. After all, catnip is promoted as a way of relaxing your pet and making them more accustomed to your care. Yeah, so that's enough background on catnip. We're already questioning our decision to talk about this movie. Anyways, the odd part about the use of catnip in the film is its suggestive imagery. Even weirder is Taylor Swift's character, of all people, cats, ends up using it. Miss Swift takes a bedazzled bottle and sprinkles a little sunshine over her beckoning audience. The results are quick and expected. Turns out she's using catnip to chill out the local cat population so that the movie's antagonist McCavity can make his move. Yes, all of that is 100% true. The weirdest part is the concept of one cat giving a bunch of other cats catnip without their consent. If the title alone doesn't make you wince, then, well, you may have some problems that you're not expressing. We honestly don't know where to start with this one, so, we'll just do our best and try to follow along? Okay. This entry involves Rebel Wilson's character, Jennyanydots, which is already making this more confusing than it needs to be. So, Jennyanydots is doing a dance number to confess her true self in front of all the other Jellicle cats. At one point during her significant dance number, she sheds her old skin and reveals a beautiful dance outfit. The outfit is fun and impressive, and any child watching it is sure to marvel at it and laugh. The only problem is every adult in the room will realize what just happened. A cat just literally ripped off its skin, unzipped it, and showed off another set of skin. Yeah, when you put it that way, it sounds less inviting. Sure, snakes and stuff do it all the time, but they're reptiles. This is a cat. We're talking about a cat. It's not right. We're torn about which scene to talk about, so let's do two different ones. Is that cheating? Maybe, but at least it's two for the price of one. Especially since the cringe only hits when you take the two entries together. Otherwise, what's the point? There are rats in this film. That much is evident to anyone who knows anything about cats. The problem comes in the rat's execution. We actually see a few rats at the beginning of the film, which is the first scene we want to focus on. You see, the rats are still rat-sized. They didn't get much larger at all, which makes you wonder why bother making the whole set from a cat's view if you're not going to make the other animals larger. Sure, some of you might argue that the cats are the stars and have actual human qualities, but here's the rub. And the other scene. You can see human faces on the rats. You're just asking for us to complain at this point. We'll get back to this a little later, though. It's not the most famous song in the film, but it's certainly up there. Opening numbers are supposed to be gigantic moments. All the stars align and the magic begins. Jellicles from Cats is one of those songs that usually fits that description. Instead, in this version, we end up like this. Feeling like BoJack Horseman during any movie is never a good thing. Why feel so disenchanted by this opening? Well, it starts out high. The shift in perspective is excellent. However, then you get the first look at that CGI cat, and it's all downhill from there. We want to get more into the CGI and specific scenes that make us wince, thanks to it, so let's keep this entry more general. The cringe in this scene is that deflating moment. You might sit in the theater watching this film just hoping it's not actually that bad. However, the minute the first number starts, you see every big reason why people are trashing this film. Hey, at least if you go to laugh at the movie, this gives you a good start, right? Once again, we're sort of cheating here by saying any scene in the title, but one scene in particular still keeps us up at night. This entry is all about Judi Dench, aka Old Deuteronomy, and that weird coat that she wears as part of her design. If you don't know what we're talking about, just prepare yourself. Before we jump into it though, let's address the elephant in the room first. There is a question about the social dynamics in the Jellicle community. If some cats wear clothes but others don't, then are the ones undressed considered naked? Also, how do the clothed cats look to humans? Do people see Ian McKellen's character as a cat in a wool coat? See, we've got you thinking now, so let's jump into the real cringe. Dench's character wears a fur coat. Yeah, you heard us right, a fur coat. So let's ask ourselves this. Is Old Deuteronomy pulling a Buffalo Bill? Or is she collecting her own fur? No matter what, the answer is just wrong. Neither one is acceptable in any social circle, cats or not. Now wait for just a second before we move on. If you haven't already, please subscribe to The Binger. And don't forget to turn on notifications because we all know how YouTube can be. And if you're on mobile, you can turn on notifications through YouTube settings. Now let's get back to the video. Full disclosure, this movie actually doesn't have jazz hands. We just wanted to name the entry for the memes. Especially since this wince-worthy moment has been documented a ton. We promise this will be a fresh take, but let's catch up any stragglers before we get to it. Legends say that Tom Hooper and crew were working on finalizing the picture lock all the way up to a few hours before the premiere. Now, we're not here to speak truth to that claim, but what is a fact is the post-production was a rush job. In their haste, the visual effects team failed to CGI most of the actors' hands in the film. It's super apparent, and a way to tell if you're watching the original cut or the new one. Moving to fix a movie, then re-release it into theaters is really rare. The James Corden number as Bustopher Jones is the most awkward scene where it shows. Think about it. Look back at his scene and watch those human hands move around his belly. For some reason, it's 10 times worse when framed that way. Remember the rats we talked about earlier? You know how they weren't all scaled up to their proper size compared to cats? Well, the same goes for the cockroaches in their scenes. Only this time it's worse. Trust us, you're gonna wish you didn't hear this entry when we're done. Keep in mind, all the rats have slightly human faces, meaning they have a bit of humanity in them apparently. The same treatment was not given for the cockroaches. For what reason? We surely have no idea. Back to the point though. Any respect they had in the story is tossed away when we see how Jennyanydots treats them. She's forced the two species into servitude towards her and all the other cats in the neighborhood. She makes them perform with her like a bunch of circus attractions, only it gets better. She doesn't even spare them after they give her their all. All of the cockroaches get carved up and served as dinner and a show. Yeah, the movie's called Cats, but this just goes too far. They give the mice human faces for crying out loud. Don't eat them! The year is 2019. Ian McKellen stands on set in his green screen spandex suit with a wool jacket covering his vital areas. He's just performed the first take of his scene in the film Cats. Tom Hooper calls cut and walks up to him. He then asks Tony Award-winning actor Ian McKellen to make cat noises on the next take. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the real tragedy of cats. We can tolerate the cat puns. We can endure James Corden hissing at people. It's the minute that you make accomplished actors meow to a camera that we put our foot down. These people are being turned into cats for your pleasure. Haven't they suffered enough? Just go back to watch all the times they meow at each other. Don't tell us it's not cringeworthy, because it totally is. You want to know the worst part? It's the fact that cats don't even meow at each other much in real life. They certainly hiss, but a meow is a way of communicating to other creatures. Besides, even if they did meow to each other, you already have them speaking. It's just redundant. Seriously, what kind of a name is Rum Tum Tugger? We're actually not even sure if we're allowed to say it under YouTube's content guidelines. Don't worry, there's a point to all of this, but Rum Tum Tugger is just wrong in itself. What the character represents explicitly, though, is the oddly, intimate posing that happens in Cats. Yeah, we're talking about all those draw me like one of your French cats, cringy winks the movie intentionally and unintentionally gives out. It all centers on Rum Tum Tugger, who's played by none other than, What could possibly go wrong? It's bad enough the CGI suits are skin tight, but it feels like the visual team did nothing to help alleviate that situation. Hence, every time there's any tension between characters, it comes off more adult in nature than they mean. The biggest victim of this effect is Jason Derulo, whose role is already a bit sousy. On second thought, maybe that wasn't the best way to describe this character, but oh well. His intro is all the cringe you need for proof. Welcome to Intro to Cat Faces, a class we're confident Hooper and his team never took in film school. Here's the basic lesson for today and for the rest of your life. If you're going to turn humans into cats, for God's sake, change their noses. Whiskers aren't enough. They just ended up looking like furry goblins when you forget to edit the nose. Yes, it's a genuinely clawful act to see this movie just epically fail at creating human-cat hybrids. The film went through multiple stages of development, and apparently everyone thought this was a good idea. This is precisely why we can't have nice things. But we digress. This video is about scenes, so let's talk about scenes. We think it's a real tragedy that the CGI mess-up that is these cat faces ruined most of the movie. So for this entry, let's discuss Jennifer Hudson's memory performance. Her voice is godly. Her persona is all there. The only trouble is it feels like Jennifer Hudson in a cat onesie and not Grisabella. And that's that. End of the story. You ruined everything right there at that moment. It's okay. You're safe now. The movie can't hurt you anymore. Did we miss one of the cringiest scenes in your opinion? Share it with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video to support the Binger, and we release daily videos, so please keep up. As always, thanks for watching.